Welcome to the Tech Insider, where we talk to the people who can give you the insights and trends that matter to you in your business. I'm Christine Grail with Leica Geosystems. I am so happy to be able to introduce to you two people today from Dee Cramer. We have with us today Marcus Ebenhoeh and Steve Hunt. And they are with Dee Cramer, which is a family-owned full-service HVAC sheet metal contracting or construction and service business based in Holly, Michigan. So tell me a little bit about Dee Cramer. What does Dee Cramer do, and what kind of clients do you serve?
Currently, we're in our third generation of ownership. The company was started in 1937 as a residential furnace business by Mr. Dee Cramer himself. And it's now run by his two sons, Matt and Rich. Matt's president. Rich is a vice president of our service division. And we primarily are a sheet metal only contractor. So our customers are mechanical contractors. We don't do plumbing and piping. So a lot of our work will go through the mechanical contractor and the construction managers and general contractors. Mainly in Michigan, up and down, if you're familiar with Michigan, up and down the I-75 23 corridor, from really the bottom of the state, Detroit, Ann Arbor, all the way to the northern lower peninsula. And we have three fabrication facilities. So we're all about ductwork, designing it, estimating it, modeling it, coordinating it, fabbing it, and installing it. So we have three manufacturing facilities, one in Saginaw, Michigan, that handles our Saginaw, Flint, and Lansing, for the most part, markets for ductwork. We have a main manufacturing facility here at the headquarters in Holly, which is our round and oval manufacturing and what we call custom sheet metal manufacturing. And then we have a sheet metal shop in Wixom that kind of mirrors the one in Saginaw, that handles our Detroit local 80 market, which is kind of, if you swung an arc from Toledo up to Port Huron and that mitten area of Michigan, all of that work in that area is handled by our Wixom shop.
So Dee Cramer is really well known throughout Michigan. Why do so many clients prefer to work with Dee Cramer? You're not the only sheet metal contracting company in the state. So what is it that makes clients really prefer to work with Dee Cramer?
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
I think one of the first things, and this is we sometimes joke about it here at the office, but our niche is making the difficult look easy. We'd sure like to not just have always have difficult jobs, but we're a solution provider. When our customers come to us, you won't hear Dee Cramer say why something won't work. We're going to help you figure out how something will work. And be not only for the work that we're going to do, but also everybody on the project. I think we've been come to be known as that partner. We're a partner, not just a trade working on a job.
Yeah, we're not. We try to look out for everybody too on the project, not just our sheet metal interests. When a client or an owner come to us for a solution, it's not always what's best for Dee Cramer. A lot of times it's what's best for the outcome of the project and all stakeholders involved. So I think that's the value we bring to it and why our customers continually look to us.
You must have worked on some really incredible projects. Do you have any that stand out to you? Anything really memorable, or maybe something that was really crazy that just stands out to you?
The one that stands out to me, the biggest, and is one a stepping stone for my career, was the MSU EFRIG project. That was one of its kind, very unique for us. We did some things there that we had to be solution providers as well, and be part of the team and look out for the owner's goals. And that's probably a milestone project for me amongst many others that we've done. But
Yeah, certainly that one, and FRIB stands for Facility for Rare Isotope Beams. That's right in the center of Michigan State's campus. But A lot of really cool projects. I've been around for a little while, so there's been a lot of different ones. But um, for me, and I think about technology and virtual design and construction, and how that has really changed. Another job that we did at Michigan State University, the Museum of Art, that building, I don't believe has a square area in it. It's like a leaning trapezoid, especially utilizing our total station, our Leica technology, to even be able to lay out what we designed and coordinated to install in the field. There was, no opportunity to drag a tape measure somewhere off a column or anything because of the shape of the building. And that's becoming more common with the, being able to look at things virtually before you build them for real. We're getting some really, really unique shapes. And there's a number of other projects that come to mind, but those are certainly two that are really, really different.
Yeah, that Broad Art Museum really tested our ability to use the current technology we had to its best ability, and that deal.
Yeah.
Well, you're obviously working very hard to make complex situations look really easy, but obviously, construction is a difficult business to be in, and there are a lot of challenges facing the construction industry right now. What would you say is the biggest issue that is being faced in construction?
Yeah, the one that hits home for me right now, Christine, is the workforce, and just the available experience of the people we're working for and the people who are in the trades and in the industry. It's been an ongoing discussion point and topic you hear in probably every podcast or conference that people attend or go to about in construction industry. But the workforce is declining. I think we have some numbers on that about people coming in and going, and the big challenge is how do we replace that knowledge, irreplaceable knowledge of our go-tos, our number one guys, and get the next cream of the crop trained up to keep us moving forward. So,
yeah, it's definitely impacting us in all areas of our business. There's enough work going on in Michigan, and the outlook is really good for a period of time, and there's a massive shortage. One of the really neat things that Dee Cramer's gotten involved in the last couple of years, and it's 3 years old, is the Heavy Metal Summer Experience. And some friends of ours out on the West Coast started this 3 years ago. This upcoming summer in 25 will be the fourth year that they've run this program, and Dee Cramer's done it the last 2 years. And the idea of that whole program was to solve or start making a dent in solving the manpower issues facing this country for the building that's taking place and is going to take place. And some of the numbers that those folks have identified is 40% of the trade workers currently are expected to retire in the next 5 to 7 years, and there's a projected shortcome of 600,000 workers in that time frame. So, really, really starting sooner and letting these kids know in high school that there is an opportunity and a career path for them, an alternative than going to college. The skilled trades is a very viable career path, and there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of benefits of going that way. And we've had a lot of success implementing that summer experience here at Dee Cramer.
Yeah, just after 3 years in, that's not a lot of time, but it's something that you've already seen value in and you continue to invest in. And have you seen students within that program actually go and then enroll in their local union training center?
Yeah, it's a little bit time will tell, because most of the students in the program are sophomores, juniors, and seniors in high school. And over in 2023, we did 2 classes at 2 of our facilities, Saginaw and Holly. And then this summer in 2024, we thought it'd be a great idea to do all 3 of our facilities simultaneously. So we learned a lot with that. So we've actually had 50 kids go through the program at Dee Cramer of the sophomore, junior, and senior in high school, and we've 4 of them that were seniors and available to go to work once they graduated high school have actually signed on and gone to work at Dee Cramer. And we think that they're some of the younger ones that took the program. We still think that we have, let's just say, a handful that are likely to sign on, maybe with Dee Cramer, maybe with another trade. Because when we do the heavy metal summer experience, we do a lot of projects that showcase a career path in sheet metal, but we also partner with some of our relationships locally and try to give the students as much exposure to the opportunities. And maybe sheet metal or some aspect of it wasn't necessarily exactly what they were looking for, but they got a really clear picture of all the other opportunities with some of the other trades and so on and so forth. So far we got 4 that have come on board, and we anticipate probably a handful more when they actually graduate high school and are available to go to work. So early signs are good. And same thing for the national program. There's a little bit of time will tell because the students are so young and they've got to get through high school and figure some of this stuff out and make those choices between college or the trades or whatever. But yeah, making a big difference. The other thing too, I mean, there's the sheet metal work, right? The hands-on working with the metal. You want to be out there on the job site or in the shop or whatever. But look, I mean, they also don't understand, wow, there's 50 plus different career paths at a company like Dee Cramer working in sheet metal.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's just that, that perception, of, oh, well, if I'm a sheet metal worker, I'm going to have to work on a roof in the wintertime or, and there's so many different opportunities, and name any of the trades, that exists in any of the trades, especially with, the virtual design and construction taking off the way that it has over the last really 10 to 15 years. You really build these buildings twice, and some of that stuff with, the youth of today that, they were born with a phone in their hand, so to speak, and technology is not intimidating to them. And, so that whole virtual side, the virtual build before you build it for real, and understanding, wow, I can have that kind of career, working for a sheet metal or a trade or a plumber or a pipe fitter or electrician or whatever, and work in, a virtual environment. Wow, I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah.
Right. So it's really cool.
Yeah, you could tell we're excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you should be. And you should be. I mean, I love how Dee Cramer is getting involved in this and really driving it, not standing back and saying, hey, we have a problem, but you're getting involved in the solution. And I think it's fantastic. So you mentioned technology and the role that technology is playing in drawing these young kids into the profession, into the construction industry. They're seeing that it's not the construction industry that maybe they imagined, maybe that existed at one time. And I love the 3D piece of artwork that you have behind you of those construction guys on that beam way up in a skyscraper. I mean, at one time that was reality, right? And now you're talking about virtual design and construction. Marcus, I believe you are BIM manager for Dee
Yep.
Cramer. Steve, you're the VP of pre-construction, I believe. And so you're both very heavily involved in applying technology to solve not only the talent challenges that you're facing, but also real world challenges day to day that you encounter as you are doing design for HVAC installation, as you're making sure that things will fit in their space. So let's talk about technology for a minute and the role that it plays in your day-to-day work. How important is technology right now?
Well, it's extremely important, to say the least, and it's usually it usually is our first thought when it comes to what's our problem, what technology do we have, or what can we use to help solve it. Steve mentioned it earlier when we were kind of just getting into the layout and using those different type of scanning and robotic layout technologies. We look to that as how can we use this to solve a problem, and what is our problem that we're trying to solve. But we may be a little bit on the far end, Steve and I, about always going to our technology and is there anything new to implement and use. But we're well aware of it, and we're cautious of it. We're not going to try to force it. But yeah.
Yeah,
So you're
and I'll
using
just add a
robotic
little
total
bit.
stations. Oh, sorry,
Of,
go ahead.
yeah, I just, guilty as charged. Number one, it's the daily check yourself at the door, thinking of ways to innovate and leverage our tools. But the thing that you have to understand about the construction industry is you know it's really been siloed work environments, for a long time. And, handing work off from one group to another is really kind of a disconnected and uninformed way to work. And technology, and the proper use of it, right application, right tool, right application, is can really pay dividends in the success.
So that's a great point. It's all about breaking down those silos and making sure that everyone has the information they need at any given point to move that project along and do it efficiently. And so when you think about the criteria that you use for the technology that you bring in, I know you're using robotic total stations. I know you're using laser scanners. I'm sure there are other technologies you're using as well. What are the criteria that you're using to evaluate whether that's going to be a beneficial technology to the company and the way it operates?
Yeah, the first thing, and this is kind of another thing that we kind of talk about and joke about, is we're over the years we had developed a bit of a tech pile, um, and we've been working very uh, diligently to make that a optimized tech stack with some of the big partners that we have that we've got relationships with, and really leverage a lot of aspects of their tools. So we've really that's probably the first thing. The first question that comes up is, again, what Marcus mentioned. I mean, when we identify there's something we want to solve and we want to evaluate technology that maybe we don't have to look at it as, is does it align with our tech stack? With interoperability and the ability to move information from a platform to another platform or whatever the case may be. That's kind of the first thing to look at, that comes to mind. And we'll ask ourselves two or three times, before it's pretty obvious that maybe there's a better tool, that would be a great addition, even though it might not be offered by our core tech stack, if that makes sense.
And it's really driven by the information that we want to leverage across the board with the technology, with our models, with our field teams, connecting our people, to get it all back to one central location of information, and make that seamless and not jump away from that big picture goal to look at the next shiny piece of technology. So it definitely has to align with what we're doing today, and then a focus of what the problem is we're solving.
Well, and at the same time, Dee Cramer has been very innovative in adopting new technology when they do emerge. I'm thinking to when the AP20 smart pole came out, and you were already using robotic total stations, and you were one of the first companies in the MEP space, I believe, to actually decide, yes, this is something that we see that would be valuable to us. So give me a little bit behind the scenes of that thought process and why you decided to move in that direction.
Well, that piece of equipment there, it seemed like a no-brainer to us. What we were being shown and told, for that piece, was it looked like it aligned with everything we wanted to do. It was going to instantly improve our efficiency in the field, which leads to a lot of other ancillary benefits. But that really just is when you see something like that looked like this is an opportunity. It aligns with our goals. It aligns with our current tools. We got to try it out. We got to test it out for ourselves now. Even though in that case we were very new, that tool was very new, Christine, and we usually say we're cutting edge, not bleeding edge, but that one we went right for it right away because we did our homework. We thought it was the right tool for what we had in our tech stack, and no regrets on that. That's for sure. That was a very, very good improvement to our workflow. Yeah.
I think there was
And
even
laser scanning to
No
me
blood
is
on that one.
no blood.
No blood.
Well, laser scanning to me is another area where I see Dee Cramer being out on the leading edge of using that technology in sheet metal. So give me a little bit of understanding of how you use laser scanning.
Well, we use laser scanning, probably just like most people do in the industry. The remodels, verifying installed conditions. I don't think we're really doing anything above and beyond for the captures and the opportunities for the captures, but it definitely is. It's fully ingrained in our workflows now. Almost an expectation because we've seen the benefits of it. We've seen how our detailing, our BIM teams can be more effective, produce a better outcome for our installers, our field teams. So we have it heavily implemented. We definitely see that as a continued use going forward, not with just us, but the industry. Probably even some more uses for it in the near future, with tracking and type of things like that. There's some of that out there now, so that might be our next step with that. But yeah, definitely a preferred workflow when we have an opportunity.
Can you give me any examples of a project where the benefit of using a specific technology was just crystal clear? It just provided a unexpected efficiency or unexpected safety or just something that really stood out to you.
Yeah. You want to go
Just
first?
got to pick one, huh?
Yeah. So I'll start. We had a recent project with, we were trying to figure out how, massive campus, how we were going to lay out some openings on a roof where nothing was protruding up. We didn't really have any opportunity to pull any tapes, lasers, anything like that. We decided to give our total station a shot, with some very unknowns, but that worked out amazing. Our field crews, major impact to the productivity, accuracy, but then something we sometimes forget about is just the worker morale with things like that when it works out, of how much better we made a guy's day or a team's day, to be happier that day, or have a process go well. And it those are the kind of things that I really smile about, and that's one example that I know of or remember recently.
Yeah, for me, one of my favorites recently is the reality capture technology, in connecting the office and the field with 3D cameras and doing walks. It helps us with our productivity, to understand what's installed, what's not installed. But also recently we had a situation where towards the end of a project we had a punch list item pop up for a damaged. There was an exposed environment, exposed ductwork, which were pretty intense about the beauty of exposed ductwork applications. And there was some damage, a good 1.5 foot long dent in a round piece of duct, and we were able to go back to the reality capture and identify, was this a QA/QC issue that we shouldn't have let slip through the cracks and made an adjustment during the installation, or did something happen after the fact? And we were able to pinpoint right down, that lo and behold, the day after another trade had worked in the area, the dent in the ductwork appeared, and it became obvious that the other trade was working in that area. And as they went up in the lift, that more than likely they went a little bit too high, and then the railing on the lift dented the ductwork, and we were able to work together to solve that and uh, kind of fix that. And in the past, that would have just been something, and it was not that big of a deal, but that would have been just something that we would have had to, you know, address on our own, and it would have been costly, and so on and so forth. And in about 2 minutes, we were able to identify and partner with another person on the job on how we could rectify the situation. And that's really cool. I'm really excited about the reality capture technology.
Those are fantastic examples. I love how the visualization really just eliminates all that finger pointing, right? So you don't have any question of what happened. It's just right there, and you can just address it and move on. And so it probably solves a lot of conflict as you go through these very complex projects, oftentimes. So, as much as you have related these experiences that have been pleasant and enjoyable, we all know that adopting technology isn't always a happy experience. And sometimes you get some resistance internally, especially when you're asking people to do things completely different from the way they've done them in the past. Have you encountered any challenges within your company of trying to get people to use a new technology? And if so, how did you address that?
Yeah, I think we've all went through that kind of adoption. But we Steve and I try to keep a focus on, again, what are we solving and how is this going to benefit everybody in the long run. We don't just try to push a mind shift or force something onto our people. We really focus on the why something's happening, and what effectiveness and efficiencies is it going to help us with, or more importantly, you with the person that we're discussing or working with, or the group. So um, just hammering home that, and keeping the why we're doing it seems to be the best solutions for us. Um, and then listen to everybody too. I mean, everybody's going to have concerns and thoughts about what we've done, and um, keep an open mind. We have a lot of examples like that of, we try to roll something out and we think we have it all figured out until our project manager experiences something and brings a very valid point. So you need to be able to listen to your people and adjust to his concerns. Yeah.
Yeah, and the only thing I would add to that is, look, change is difficult, and you're probably more likely to experience. I don't know. I think pushback is too hard of a word, because there might be a lack of understanding. But a challenge to, why are we implementing something new? And we have definitely had experiences where certain groups or teams 1000% saw the value of, man, this is really going to help, but we didn't do a good job of communicating that to the team and the end users, and it ended up looking to them, like Marcus mentioned, top down, shoving things down your throat. I mean, you have to, you know we're not just doing it for the sake of implementing technology for the sake of implementing technology, but when you make a decision and you're going to solve something, and you see how technology is going to help you, you have to communicate the why, um, more than once, as you're leading up to the onboarding and the training and the so on and so forth, so that when you get there, your folks and the people that you're going to ask to utilize the technology are more apt to embrace it and understand what we're solving, and what workflow we're replacing. So explain the why, explain the why, explain the why.
That communication is so important in getting that buy-in that you need to really have the full adoption of the technology, because when you get that full adoption, that's when you start to see the value. When everyone's using it, everyone sees the benefit of using it, they're driving it forward, and it's not so much a top-down implementation as it is just everyone fully on board. So you mentioned, Steve, upskilling, or not upskilling, but you mentioned training and onboarding. How do you approach that within the company? I know you're trying to upskill people as well to take on new roles, to be able to do more with the technology. So what approach do you take to get that done?
Yeah, it really depends on the technology, but globally, if we're talking about like software implementation, first and foremost, there's a technology committee at Dee Cramer, and our different teams will bring things, to our attention that we want to investigate, or a team or a group wants to investigate, and then we'll do that research, and other products or tools that might be available, or so on and so forth. But I would say probably the biggest success we have with training is involving and identifying champions within the user groups that will be charged with using the technology, and helping them um, develop the knowledge and the know-how to be able to train the teammates within that group. When you have uh, power users or people that are championing implementation within a vast work group, and they're the ones that are leading that charge, and they work together day to day with those people. That is a strategy that I feel like we found a lot of success in. Um, so, I mean, I don't know. You have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I do. Just something we call around here lunch and learns. I think as we start to consider rolling out or implementing some technology, we like to give our people a high level look at what it is before there starts to be any chatter coming around the office of how is this going to impact me, or what is this about? I've never even seen this. Do I have to use it?
Mhm.
We just bring the group of people together. We have a lunch. We talk high level about what the product is, little open forum, and just give people a nice little splashy touch at it. And then going from there, I think we also, on top of what Steve said, we use kind of like a just in time training model. We don't try to train the masses and have somebody not use a technology for 6 months. We want to make sure we get the training done at the right time for the right person, and then also open the communication for continued refreshers for anybody who needs it.
Yeah.
In doing those in person as well. So that's
Yeah, good point. And one more thing that we do, with executing construction projects, we have numerous touch points with our team members. Every job that we do, there is a unique team assembled to do that job. Project manager, a project coordinator. This is on some of the bigger work, a project PM, PC, usually a BIM lead, which we call BIM project leaders, or BPLs. The shops involved, the fields involved, the superintendent and the foreman. So we have these teams that are assembled um, to execute a project. I'm sure we may have had an exact same team, but probably very few. But with that, there is a handful of what I call pre-planning meetings, or we call pre-planning meetings at Dee Cramer, which are great touch point opportunities, mainly for the field, to get them maybe their first training on something. This is going to be the first job they're going to use something on, or that continuing education. They're going to be in the office 2 or 3 times, specifically focused on this project and the pre-planning. And those are great opportunities to partner them up, to get some refreshers or some updates, or potentially even their first time training on utilizing one of the technologies that we've rolled out as a company.
So even though you're looking for technology champions internally, you're also opening the door to anyone who wants to become that technology champion. So there's a lot of opportunity for someone to progress just about from wherever they are in the company to wherever they want to be. And I think, Marcus, your career trajectory is probably a great example of that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I started out in our shop as a pre-apprentice. At that time, I tried to look at every opportunity I possibly could. And there was a CAD class going on at our union hall, and Steve was the teacher. So everything that I know, I owe to Steve. and yeah, that's where I came up, and then through the trade, and yeah, didn't know what I didn't know until somebody showed me and told me and gave me an opportunity. So
That's really awesome. And are you finding technology any easier to train people on? I mean, we've got so much automation in everything now. Is it becoming easier to get new employees or new people who want to learn the technology to get them up to speed so that can become proficient in using the technology?
yeah, I think it's became easier. There's resources out there for us to lean on. We've also over the years developed a heck of a program to make sure we're addressing those issues for our people. But you really got to break down any kind of unwillingness to learn or any kind of standoffness towards technology or being scared. You got to make sure your people are comfortable with exploring the technology and the tools, and not just um, forcing somebody to click a button. You got to make sure an individual is comfortable with an open mindset, creativity with using it, and just not be scared. And those are those are easier people to train if somebody comes in and already has that. And we see that a lot with the younger generation having it. But on the flip side of that, our younger generation doesn't have our skills trade experience, so we juggle that too. So
Yeah. Yeah, really, I think there's that. The workforce is getting younger, less intimidated by technology, easier to adapt to these things. Things are coming at us every single day at lightning pace. But I would say that probably the two of the biggest career lessons I've really had at the company is, number one, we've gotten better. We've taken the time to understand um, how important training is in giving each and every employee who's going to utilize tools and resources that this company has decided to use in the execution of these projects. um, it's not just a one-off. You can't just show somebody something. You have, so really learning the lesson of you know training is as important as just about anything that we do, and making sure that you take the time to do that for those. And then the other thing I was just going to add on to what Marcus said. I mean, I can remember back in the day, even before the World Wide Web, uh, you know, we were a company who created a lot of documents and processes and stuff to support training goals and needs, and just about anything that you're looking at nowadays. The amount of resources that are available from the provider or the manufacturer or whatever it is. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can figure out how to use these resources to package them better into a training curriculum for each of our users and whatever their role is in using that technology. Those are kind of like the two big things I think today that make it a little bit easier. But we still got to be diligent and do a good job, or we're not going to have the success we want.
Yeah, good point. I don't know, Steve, you're going back to before the internet. You're really dating yourself there. It's like
That's
it's
fine.
going way back, right? I don't
I'm
know.
over the
Change has happened.
stage.
Change has happened so quickly, honestly. So what are you both most excited about as you look to the future with everything that has developed, all the technology advances, all of the ways that it has solved some problems and opened some new doors? What are you most excited about in the future?
I'm most excited about going to the lake. No, I'm just kidding. You know, I don't know that I'm going to use the term excited. I'm curious, curiously excited. You know, with how AI throughout the entire delivery process, you know, from design through, you know, coordination through manufacturing, and robotics, you know, so AI and robotics, I mean, that's kind of, um, I'm really curious, and I think that that's going to make a really, really big difference in the way that construction is done, and even how Dee Cramer works now throughout our business. That's probably the two things that I'm most excited about.
Yeah, I'm on the same lines. The one that I'll add to the AI is you know, a fabrication level type development in models. We're already seeing some AI tools out there for our BIM authors, whether it be an annotation thing, some you know, it's smartly looking through your models and doing things. I wonder when that's going to come for what we call fabrication level for contractors. You know, an AI program or whatever to detail and construct a virtual building that is fabricatable for all trades, and then it's you know, it also serves the needs for the design community too. So that's one that I don't think it's on our heels, but you never know. That's really exciting. Um, and then the robotics thing, I just keep seeing so much about robotics on demos or in job sites or drone controlled. It's where it's going to go, but it's going to come, and it's going to change our industry. It's going to change our company too. Yeah.
Well, for sure, for a manufacturer. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, right away. I mean, we have 3 manufacturing facilities. 2 of them kind of do the same thing, rectangular ductwork, you know, coil lines and lasers, and the other one does round and oval and specialty. But um, you know, I really see by the time I'm done at Dee Cramer that we will have you know, robotic equipment doing work in our manufacturing facilities that we currently don't have.
Yeah.
So much fun to think about where everything could go. Right. I love how you said that, Steve, about being curious, because that's really for all of us, we're kind of waiting to see where is this all going to take us. It's interesting for sure. Marcus, Stephen, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to have you back on the program at some point in the future.
All right. Thank you, Christy.
Yep. Thank you.
Be sure to check out the description for additional resources on this topic. If you enjoyed this content, give us a like. If you'd like to see more of this content, be sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on the Tech Insider.